Who is Agent Twilight really? He's a man with no real name, a spy who's forgotten who he actually is, a person who destroyed his own past to become the most perfect operative in the world. He's the most elite spy in the world, a master of disguise, a tactical genius who has outsmarted governments, terrorists, and assassins. His code name is
黄昏
Twilight,
男はスパイだった。
a legend whispered in intelligence agencies across nations. But here is the thing, nobody becomes that good by accident. There is always a reason, a wound, a loss, a moment where everything breaks. Loid Forger, the psychiatrist living in Oceania, is actually a master spy codenamed Twilight, and his entire existence is built on the devastating tragedy of his childhood. In this video, we are going to follow the complete story of how a boy with everything to lose becomes a spy with nothing left. Today we are breaking down the tragic origin of Agent Twilight and why understanding Loid Forger's past is the key to understanding the entire spy family story. Before we dive into Lloyd's story, you need to understand the world he grew up in. Spy Family takes place in a fictional world divided by an ideological cold war between two nations, Westeros and Ostania. For decades, these nations have been locked in conflict war that claimed countless lives and left entire regions devastated. This is the world Lloyd was born into. Fast forward to the present day, the tensions have cooled slightly, but they are nowhere near resolved. In fact, they are about to explode. A mysterious political figure named Donovan Desmond is rising to power in Ostania. He might be a threat to peace itself. That's where wise Vestalis intelligence service steps in. They need their best agent, someone legendary, someone untraceable, someone willing to risk everything to prevent another war. And here comes our spy Twilight. Before he was a spy, before he was Twilight, before he became a weapon, he was just a boy. A boy living in a small town during wartime. A boy who watched aeroplanes fly overhead and dreamed of becoming a soldier. He wanted to fight, he wanted to matter. But his father wouldn't allow it. This man, Lloyd's father, claimed to be a buzzfish. He talked about peace, he talked about ending the war, but at home he was violent. He would beat his son just for even mentioning the military. He called young Lloyd a coward. He said the army would never want someone so weak. So Lloyd did what his father demanded. He tried to be perfect. He tried to earn his father's love through obedience, but there was one person who understood him, his mother. While his father broke him down, his mother built him back up. When the sirens wailed outside, when the bombs fell in the distance, she would sing to him soft lullabies. Her voice was the only thing that made the war feel far away. This love, this single bond would become the foundation of everything Lloyd would become, and then she was taken from him. The first bombs fell on a day like any other. The Ostanian military attacked without warning. Buildings collapsed. People screamed. In that chaos, in that single moment, Lloyd's father died. Lloyd was old enough to understand what that meant. His father was gone. The man who had beaten him, who had rejected him, who had called him weak, was suddenly just gone. But Lloyd didn't have time to process grief because the second attack came. Worse than the first. More bombs, more death, more destruction. His mother grabbed him and they ran. They ran through collapsing streets, past burning buildings, through smoke so thick Lloyd couldn't see her face. Then, in a moment of chaos, they got separated. Lloyd looked back and she was gone, swallowed by the smoke and fire. He called for her. He screamed, but there was no answer. By the time the smoke got clear, she was no more. Lloyd stood in the ruins of his hometown, bodies and burning debris. His father was gone, his mother was gone, his home was gone. Everything he knew, his friends, his neighbors, his entire world was obliterated. He was alone. For years, young Lloyd wandered these ruins. He scavenged for food. He hid in gutters. He watched the war continue above him, destroying everything he could see. He had no family, no home, no future. All he had was rage. Years after losing everything, young Lloyd made a decision. He would join the military. He lied about his age. He took a false identity to enlist, and he poured every ounce of rage, every moment of grief into becoming a perfect soldier. On the battlefield, he was exceptional. While other soldiers hesitated, Lloyd calculated. While others panicked, Lloyd executed. He killed with precision. He fought with strategy. He was channeling his anger into revenge. Every enemy he killed was supposed to avenge his parents, supposed to make their deaths mean something, supposed to make the pain go away. But then on the battlefield, something happened. He encountered an Ostanian soldier, a deserter named Frankie Franklin. Two enemies, weapons drawn. Loid could have killed him, should have killed him. Instead, Frankie talked. Frankie said something that broke through all of Lloyd's rage. What are we even fighting for? They send us to die for reasons we don't understand. They use us. Both Westerlies and Ostania, they're playing with our lives like they were toys. For the first time in years, Loid heard the truth. The war wasn't noble. It wasn't justice. It was just cruelty. Senseless, endless cruelty. And Loid had been a part of it. But it got worse. Soon after, Loid reconnected with his childhood friends. People he thought were dead. For a brief moment, he wasn't alone anymore. He had family again. Then in a single reckless military operation, they were all killed in front of him. And Loid finally understood the rage he had been channeling, the revenge he had been seeking, none of it mattered. His anger didn't bring people back. His skill didn't protect anyone. His sacrifice didn't prevent anything. He realized something that would define who he became. The world was cruel. People in power sent people to die for lies. And the only way to stop it was to become someone behind the scenes. Someone who could see the truth. Someone who would manipulate the game itself. He needed to become a spy. That's when Weiss found him. A mysterious man appeared on the battlefield, and instead of arresting him or killing him, he offered him a choice. This recruiter knew Lloyd's real name, his actual birth name, that he would never told anyone. He also knew his military allies. He knew everything. This proved something terrifying. Weiss had been watching him the entire time. They saw his potential, they saw his skill, they saw his desperation, and they saw someone who could be remade. The recruiter made him an offer. Forget your real name, forget your military identity, forget your past, abandon everything, become something new. Become something perfect. Loid said yes. What happened next was intense psychological reconstruction. Weiss broke him down completely. They took away his name, his history, his sense of self. They rebuilt him from nothing piece by piece. He learned languages, combat, psychology, disguise. He learned to lie so well that he couldn't tell what was true anymore. He learned to kill without hesitation. He learned to become anyone, to fit into any situation, to manipulate any scenario. All under the guidance of Sylvia Sherwood, his handler and mentor. And when the training was complete and the transformation was absolute, he received his codename, Will Light. He was no longer the boy who lost his parents. He was no longer the soldier seeking revenge. He didn't have a real name anymore. He didn't have a real identity. He was a perfect spy, nothing more, nothing less.